We are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Attacking Third. The regular season has ended, Pat. I'm going to take these off because I'm getting some glare off of my screen, and I feel like that's kind of off-putting.
Hey, look, Clark Clan over there.
now the real man has arrived.
Yes,
Yeah, regular season's over, folks. With the 4-0 win that Philadelphia got over Toronto by absolutely bodying them in the second half, we have sealed up number one in the Eastern Conference, getting the first round bye in the playoffs, and we play the winner. You ready for this, Pat? Of either New York Red Bull or FC Cincinnati. That's who we get to get into this to start off our playoff run. And there's there's a small possibility with how bad they've been playing. I don't think they make it, but there's a possibility that we get a revenge Eastern Conference final with NYCFC.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm going to agree with everything you said. It's playoff time. This is the best time for soccer. I cannot wait. This is my first time actually going to be enjoying without the union involved. So I get to take a look at some other teams that are going to be involved. Like you said, you mentioned about we get the winner of Red Bull or Cincinnati, two teams that we dealt very easily. You got New York versus Miami. You have Montreal versus Orlando on the east side. And then you got on the west side, you have LA Galaxy versus Nashville. I'm pretty sure your brother will be locked into that. You have Dallas versus Minnesota. You have Austin versus Salt Lake City. So again, a loaded,
absolutely loaded
weekend. But I gotta go to you. Before we get into all the playoff round matchups on it, what did you see from this weekend?
From Philadelphia over the weekend, I just saw exactly what I wanted to see from them going into that match. Just complete domination on the defensive end, crisp passing through the midfield, and just being able to finish on the attacking end. And that's exactly what you want. Especially because of the fact that if Toronto can get going, granted they haven't really been able to do that much during the season, which is why they ended up where they did in the standing. If they can get going, they can be a bit of a threat. So being able to really just stifle them and only give them like 2 or 3 solid opportunities, one of which was a goal line clearance by Olivier Mbaizo. It's just exactly what you wanted to see them do. Like Eric's saying there, they did exactly what they had to do in that match. And they knew what the implications were if they won. And they went out there and they played the full 90 exactly like you would expect.
Right. And, back to Eric here, my man Eric, he says, yeah, they did what they had to do. And that's right. Listen, I listened to Jim Curran's press conference, and he said it, just like you and I alluded to, when they went to Charlotte, they got a bad taste left in their mouth. And they had to bounce back, and they bounced back in a big way. I mean, we all have heard Jalen Hurts being the Dark Knight. No, if anybody was attacking from the shadows, it was my man Gazdag. Okay,
yeah,
because he
just
was
first goal, man. Oh my goodness, that was an amazing banger. That first Gazdag goal was an absolute banger. I will touch on this in a few minutes because I actually did see some of that match, and as someone who, aside from Manchester United, which Gus hates, aside from being a fan of them in Spain, I'm a fan of Barcelona. So that was it's been an absolute disappointment. They have such amazing talent on that team, and for some reason, just nothing's clicking. And it's just been really tough to see. Like ever since Neymar, Suarez, and Messi all left, this team has been on a really rough downtrend. And then another one that he's saying there, I agree with him. Manchester City has the best chance to win the Champions League, absolutely. But getting back to this Union match, the main thing for the offense that I saw was that all three of Carranza, Ua, and Gazdag were all clicking like they usually do. They were really able to work the ball very well outside and inside of the box. They did a really good job drawing that. I feel like it was a very ticky-tack call, but that handball to get the PK for Gazdag to get goal number 2, I feel like it was a bit ticky-tack, but to be able to force that ball into a spot where that could happen is absolutely incredible, first of all, by McGlynn on the service on that corner with the left foot. But on top of that, just great ball tracking inside of the box, being able to get a foot on it to create the possibility of that happening. Just overall, it was just an amazing performance by Philadelphia. And now that the season has ended, I do have a few gripes that I will talk about a bit later because it was something that I didn't get a chance to tell you because I was actually working today, so I didn't get a chance to send you the one thing that I wanted to talk about. End of the season awards. I will cover those after, in between, talking about this and then looking forward to the playoffs. I'll touch on that a bit because there's a few things that I don't really like about it, and I will get into those in a little bit. But yeah, overall, that was exactly what you wanted, Jim Curtin to be able to do with these guys. Show, like, let them know, like, hey, big time implications here. Got to get that stuff going on. To answer this question here, I'm going to pop this up really quick. There are very, I guess you could say, essentially raucous soccer fans here in the States. It doesn't get to the way it is that you see in some places where like the flares, the smoke, a lot of that stuff doesn't really happen here, which I think is, honestly, it's a great thing because that kind of stuff really puts a lot of players and staff members in danger. There was one that happened. I think it was either Dubai or
I'll
somewhere.
be right back.
Yeah, man, do your thing. I think it was somewhere in like Dubai or India that there was like a huge rush of people onto the field after their team lost essentially their derby match, and it caused, I want to say, like, I don't remember the exact number, but there was a very large amount of civilian casualties. So there was you don't really see that here in the States. There's no soccer stadiums with like the big fences up at the front of like leading into the field of play. But honestly, there's a lot of very, very strong soccer fan bases here. My older brother actually lives down in Nashville now. He was a founding member of he was part of the first batch of season ticket holders for Philadelphia Union here in 2010 when the team first started. He moved down there in 2017. In 2018, they announced that in 2019, Nashville was going to be getting, we just burned pink cows here. But yeah, like, it's more, I guess you could say, like your standard fan affair for any sporting match here in the States. You'll every once in a while you'll get like that raucous few people that tend to try and take things a bit too far, but the general consensus of the people in the match, like at the match and watching, is not anywhere near as bad as you would see in some other places for sure. But yeah, I agree with this. These are the 2 years that we didn't sort of stumble in have been some of the strongest showings that we have. Like this year, we had Gazdag set the team record for goals in a season with 22 to finish off. Of which that's the main thing I want to talk about. Daniel Gazdag got snubbed for an MVP finalist. You know who they put in instead?
Apparently.
You know who they put in instead? Chicharito, because he's a name.
Right.
The man had 14 goals all year. The guy with 22 goals in a season and the best shot to goal rate in league history in Daniel Gazdag doesn't get in as a finalist. That's outrageous to me. It makes absolutely no sense. The main four that everyone should really be talking about: Mukhtar, Driussi, Gazdag, Blake. Those are the four that people should be talking about for MVP, and one of them isn't there, and it's Daniel Gazdag. Driussi, Mukhtar, and Blake are all in finalists. But yeah, it's just, dude, I know what you mean. I'm trying to save some of the venom that I have for when we get to it actually in its own piece.
Yeah, Eric says we just burn pink cows here. That's right. Well, we'll take care of those pink cows.
Yeah,
if they make it to us.
Do a thing where they theme out like a junker car, and people can come and just beat the absolute crap out of this car. But like never. I personally have never seen anything like on hand like to that level of like letting off smoke grenades, like flares or anything like that. So I mean, there's a ton of that kind of stuff that happens all over the world. Thankfully, you don't really see it here. And plus, MLS is still trying to like slowly build its way throughout the country. Like U.S. soccer is just starting to really pick up over the past like 10 years.
Well,
so I feel like it's slowly starting to get to a point where we could eventually see that in the next 5 to 10 years if the fandom stays the way it has. But I feel like a lot of people are more like for especially stateside when it comes to sports, we're like we're diehard and we're extremely passionate, but a lot of the stuff that you see elsewhere, you never see here. You never see any of that kind of stuff. Like I said, you don't have those stadiums where just outside of play, like where like you normally would have that little stanchion that you like, where the like right over that it leads to like a space between the field of play and the stands. Normally, everywhere else, there's fences that
Mm-hmm.
line many like stories high, so that people can't get onto the field. Like we don't have that here because like every once in a while you'll get a person like run out on the field and they get tackled and done, and play goes on. But out there, like if someone goes onto the field, like I've watched compilation videos, like fans will just run out and just like punch the shit out of somebody for no reason.
Wow.
Just run up, like go to a player that they hate and just start swinging at them. Like a dude pulled a knife on somebody when they ran onto the field. Like it gets crazy of everywhere else. Here, for
Yes,
some reason, we just don't have that.
and that's what my man Eric's alluding to, because that was a championship league semis
Yeah, the
against the Club
Champions League semis
America.
against Club America.
Oh my
Oh,
God, no. So let
such a,
me.
such a poor display in terms of like. I mean, like I understand the passion is a lot larger everywhere else than it is here, but have some like. Pardon my language, Pat, but have some fucking decorum. Like you're out. You spent money to go there to watch these guys do what they do. They're out there playing a game. Like don't ruin it for everyone that paid to go because you're a jackass.
Right. Well, there's a
Like
lot of them there.
I'm sorry if some people take that the wrong way, but it's probably because you're part of the problem. Like,
Right. Well, but back to the game here. This Toronto and Union matchup. These are some of the notes I've written down that were eye popping to me. So I took a look at, like I said, Gazdag is the new Batman attacking from the shadows. Their goaltender didn't see anything coming. He gets a hat trick, so he was guaranteed to get this team its push into the postseason. You saw the last goal he got was through double coverage, and he cut right through them, and he banked it in there. And he
yeah,
got the penalty kicked. He got, and then you had that guy Bazo, I believe he came up when
yeah, Olivier and Bizo, yeah,
Bazo, yeah, when
the
he
big
came,
goal line clearance, man.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, how big was that? I mean, you have Andre Blake out on the 1-on-1. He comes and makes that creepy, good pass, and then Baza comes in and makes that save. So if it wasn't for that save, it could have been a lot closer game. The
yeah,
momentum could have changed and all that.
yeah, Blake would have finished tied for the league lead in clean sheets, and we probably
Mm.
wouldn't be having the discussion that we're having right now of
Right.
can he become the league MVP?
This is going to be remain to be seen. So, um,
I
but
honestly
like,
think it's going to be Hani Mukhtar. If they don't give it to him this year, something weird is going on because this man has been unreal the past 2 seasons. Like not even the
mhm,
past 2 seasons, the past three, really. Hani Mukhtar has been absolutely incredible for Nashville. He's been everything they've asked for from him and more. And I feel
there,
like giving him a golden boot will help put a market like Nashville on the map for soccer. Because the main stuff they have there is college football, Tennessee Titans, and the Nashville Predators. So like
right.
to get your MLS team sort of up into this position of like they're a perennial playoff team. They have a league MVP. Like it would help that market big time. Like even here, like if Blake gets it, it would help the market here. Like
Hmm.
third time, second time in 3 years that we're a number one seed. Just blowing all sorts of league and team records away, and having your not only would he be goalkeeper of the year because it's his to lose. I've been saying that all season long, but to also have him potentially be winning MVP, get the coach of the year. Kai Wagner and Jacob Lesnes are both finalists for defender of the year. So like we have all of this here. Like it's already here. Like just you look at like it's almost comparatively to like the Eagles. Like we have guys in their positions that are not considered some of the best in the league, but like on paper, but in terms of their play, are like some of the best dudes in the league. Like we have a really smart head coach, and the team literally just is walking through everyone. Like any
Well,
team that comes here doesn't stand a chance. And I feel like that's the main thing. If you can get those wins at home more than anywhere else, that's where you're going to really succeed. And being able to have it be essentially sellout crowds every single time you're at home really helps the situation.
yeah. Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to my man Dave. Dave, thanks for checking in. Um, Back to what you were saying about all these stats, and you bring up about having the goal of the year, having a guy potentially got snubbed for all the points of the year, goals of the year. You have all these. Then you have the guy who was tied in second in Kyle Wagner. In assists. So I mean, you have all this. Like you said, you have all these guys in play. You have a good head coach with it. Good head shoulders, head on his shoulders. He alluded to earlier in his press conference. He said, "Look, we were down in Charlotte and we got a bad taste in our mouth." And look, and you and I have seen this them respond in this big way. When they lost to Dallas, they came out and smacked around that, DC. They do this to teams that And look, Gazdag played with some fire in his shoes. He had some ice in his cleats. He was up to par. Like he made sure he punched this ticket in that we were getting the number one seed team. My question to you though, Austin, is this good or bad for the Union? I mean, think about it. I mean, you want them to continue playing that red hot soccer, or them taking a potential 1 week rest is going to be bad for them and not keeping that train rolling, steaming.
I feel like with how we've been playing, the week off is not going to matter. It's
Hmm.
where for some reason something with this team like coming out of that quick little international the international friendly spot that we had. I feel like that was more because we had so many people away that they didn't do the training with the team. So something like there were a few things off. So getting that full week of training with everybody there and being able to sort of rest and keep yourself essentially level on momentum from where you came off against Toronto and being able to carry that through into the playoffs is a lot better for this team in terms of their mentality. Because this is a team like no matter when that whistle goes off to start play, immediate killer mentality.
Yeah,
Like their plan is to go out there and like Gus said last week going into the game against Toronto, foot, throat, and that's all they ever want to do, and that's all they've been doing.
yeah. And how about this stat? Undefeated at home. Undefeated at home.
Gotta love getting the home cooking, man. That's the best part, and especially because of the fact that we are undefeated at home, and every single match through MLS Cup playoffs, if it goes through and we keep going, are all coming through here. Like we're not going anywhere else to play. Everyone has to come here, and it's considered one of the toughest places to play in MLS.
Yeah.
So
So, Austin, you want to take this one, or you want me to get this guy?
the
So
rest the rest worries me, but home play matters for this team. Not to mention, everyone remembers last year's asterisk in the conference finals. We just need Bedoya there. We need everybody to be healthy because if we have
yeah.
the same thing happen, it's going to be very, very upsetting for this city.
You're right, and there is no second chances. There
Not
is
anymore. Not
it's
for the
one in and out.
not since 2017. I think 17 or 18 was when they got rid of the home and home series in the playoffs.
Wow.
Which
So
that was how we used to use playoffs, almost like
he meant
it.
leadership.
Oh yeah, in terms of leadership, Bedoya has been incredible for this team. Not just in terms of development, but being able to keep themselves focused, match in and match out. This guy has been like absolutely essential. Like locking him in for 2 more years, I feel like is solid. He's actually a finalist for an end of the season award for Humanitarian of the Year.
Hmm.
So like not only does he do amazing things on the pitch, he does amazing things off of it as well. So like having that guy who really is in touch with the community around him, being an excellent leader not only in the locker room but outside of it in the community surrounding the team, like it's amazing to see that kind of stuff. And it literally has all of the makings for just amazing headlines for this team.
Yeah. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what this team does. I mean, like I said, I'm really happy to see what this team was able to do on Sunday and get snatching that number one seeded spot because they need in the worst way. And like I said, I cannot be more thrilled with Gaza's play here
Yeah.
of what he brought to the table. Like I said, he made sure he was punching that ticket in for us to get to get that number one seeded round. And he, again, won through double coverage. He won through the shadows. He was
Yeah.
lurking. He got that penalty kick. I mean, he got his hat trick in. So, and
Yep.
what's the other guy who got the other goal there?
Mikhail Ua.
Ua.
I think it was number 12 on the year for him.
Mm-hmm.
So
again,
just him and Gazdag alone combined for 34 goals. That's a goal a game clip between the two of them.
wow.
Not to mention the goals that Carranza has gotten as well. But if
Right.
you look at Gazdag's numbers this year, played in every single match, 22 goals, 6 assists, 28 total points, literally puts him third overall in points in the league. And I'm just transitioning right now. Gazdag was a snub for league MVP. I am livid. Tied for second in goals, third overall in points, played every single match. You bump him and put in Chicharito. Get out. Get out. Get out.
That's what I want to hear, Austin. That's what I want to hear.
My door's right over here. It leads down to a flight of stairs, and then that next door leads out. Take both of them.
Oh, wow.
Take both of them. This man was dominant all year long, and you're not putting him in for league MVP. You're wrong. You're a liar, and I don't like it.
Yes. Unleash your venom, Austin. This is the Austin I want to see.
Props to the guys that did make it. Druisi, Mukhtar, Blake, you all had amazing years. But for Daniel Gazdag to be snubbed and Chicharito to be put in is blowing my mind, boiling my blood, and making me blind with rage.
See what you did there, MLS? Way to go. Now you got Austin's blood pressure.
You made this angry.
And you don't want that angry, okay? It's beautiful. Let it be. Yes, hawk it, rage it up. I don't care. Just don't break the
into my water so I could drink my own rage.
Oh man,
it's just baffling. 28 total points, 22 goals on the year, tied with one of the guys who is a league MVP finalist, and you don't include him. Like that would literally be like every year in the NHL for the past 4 seasons, McDavid wasn't in there. Think about that. Like McDavid, Austin Matthews,
that's a disgrace.
And take him out of the MVP race. You have any idea how mad that would make people? Like both those guys average 45 goals a year. They're always in the top for goal scoring. If you were to just be like, "Yo, we're gonna put Sidney Crosby in there because people know who he is,"
and right, just because he's a name and you're not, you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you say you're snuggling.
Pardon my language again, but kiss my ass.
Yes, yes. Here goes one.
I'm surprised they're not considering dissolving DC anytime soon.
Yeah. You know what?
It's because it's one of the original MLS clubs. Like, granted, they did do it with one, which was Chivas USA.
Eric,
which I was sad when Chivas USA went away. They were always a very decent club. One of the teams that you don't see anymore aside from them, because of the fact they changed location and name, is the New York, New Jersey Metro Stars, were the big team in the tri-state area. In the early 2000s, they actually got bought by the league and turned into New York Red Bull.
Right. So Eric Glues, he goes, DC should be installed as well as how much we own them. And listen, we put out 2 touchdowns on them. That should tell you something. I think 15 goals. All right. So yeah. They got welcome to the woodshed.
8 and 6, yeah, so 14.
Yeah, so they got welcome to the woodshed quite a few times this summer. So they brought that on themselves. So, but Austin, let's bring down this here. Who would you rather face, as my man Eric calls them, the Pink Cows, or you want to face Cincinnati? Which is an easier road for you, or you want the tougher of the two?
I feel like Cincinnati is a team that we could potentially overlook and they'd upset us. But I feel like a lot of the lesser competition that we've played, we've really walked through very well. New York Red Bull, we didn't really have much issue with throughout the season either. So it's really just, honestly, if you can figure out which one of the two is worse, because they both in the tail end of their seasons look really bad. I would probably say New York Red Bull because of how more undisciplined they really are. They are one of the league leaders in penalties surrendered. I mean, just overall fouls in general. I mean, I think the 3rd most carded team in the league, if I remember correctly. So, like, there's a lot there in terms of their discipline that I feel like we could potentially really exploit and just be able to give them a really hard time, like we've already done with them the 2 times that we saw them during the season. Cincinnati, on the other hand, they just have trouble finding the net. Like, they can get going, but they just can't, like sort of like how we had that issue in that stretch of the season where we couldn't find that final touch to get the ball in. And they've had that issue all season long. Like sometimes they'll get lucky and win like 1-0, 2-1. But like a lot of their matches, they just were having so much trouble. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're definitely more disciplined than Red Bull, but they still have some like issues in terms of how they play, like their discipline on the pitch. So it's really like I said, find the lesser of two evils, the worse of two discipline wise, and you should be able to just. I would hope you should be able to walk right through. The game's at home, so you're already at it at a distinct advantage. So being able to not have to travel, I feel like helps. And for those teams that are playing in the first round, having to play through a very tough match in terms of it being the playoffs now, and then having to travel, especially for Cincinnati, because they travel to New York to play that game. So if you can get Cincinnati to get through New York, like scratch by, and then they have to travel here to go from New York to Philly in terms of playing against those two teams in their stadiums is a lot tougher than being able to play at home.
Right. So they'll be on the road. Like I said, you have to go to New York, and if you get by New York, you have to travel down and come through South Philly.
You gotta hop on 95 and come on down.
Come on back down here. But yeah, for me, though, I want to face the Pink Cows. A Philly New York matchup is always fun to me, and what better than get rid of a New York team? And we've been having problems with New York teams, but in this case, I think the easier matchup for the Union is the Red Bull.
Yeah,
And that's
I
what I want
100% agree, specifically because of the fact that New York Red Bull is a lot less disciplined.
Yeah.
Union 2, Cincinnati is the only team that worries me a bit, but another great game against New York would just be amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, the only reason he says that is because there's a fistful of Union players there that used to play here. I think Sergio Santos is there, and Ray Gaddis are both part of that team. This is a very good question. I'm going to pop this up. Soccer is the most popular sport in the world. Will the MLS also become more popular in the United States in the following years than in the past?
I want to say yes.
I want to say it definitely has a chance to. But the way it goes here, it's usually football is always one. Everywhere that you go to in this country, it's gonna be football number one always. Well, American football, I should say. The National Football League is always going to be the number one thing here. But I feel like it has the potential to start rising past hockey and baseball. Like it's one of those things. Like the culture is changing a bit in the country. A lot of things are developing a different way. Like honestly, I'm not even. I feel like this is me just taking shots because I can and nobody will retaliate. But like, you see it in basketball all the time, dude. Like guys will barely get touched and they'll look like they got shot. And all the time, people are like, "What is this, soccer?" Like you already know what the base of it is, being able to draw penalties to give your team a bit more of a tactical advantage. So we're people are starting to understand I guess you could say the raw essential pieces of play for soccer, but they're not watching the sport. So I feel like it's only a matter of time before that culture shift begins to happen. Where like hockey and baseball will still be decent here in the States. Like people will follow them just because that's just what they do. But like I feel like soccer eventually will climb, especially here in Philadelphia. Like it's already beginning. Like
yeah, and to piggyback with everything you're saying, and to answer their question here, I want to say, yeah, I want to say it does have a chance to pay. Like in this city, in Philly, it does. In the way that okay, like everyone sees Flyers have absolutely no direction, right? So no one's really paying attention. Like guys on the, that I know of, I'm good friends with on the radio, on sports radio here, they already substitute, the Union for that. And it's funny, back at the old station with us and Vinny and Vinny Quinn, like it is interesting that he said if they get enough parades here going and if they're consistent like this every year, I think because we're so strong heavily about playoffs in the city, I think it does have a chance to surprise a lot of people. And my brother And I've said this to a lot of people, like, and a lot of people are like, ah, no, and it'll never happen. Like, you got to give it a chance. And I think we'll pass, it will syringe, a lot of teams. I mean, look, even the local sports store, I talk to the owner all the time, and he's already told me, he said the Union gear already has outblown the Flyers. And look, I love all my teams equally, but it is what it is. I mean, really, what the Flyers only have to do is sell gritty. That's all they have to sell, and it's not
Yeah,
really that irrelevant when your team is losing.
yeah,
And with
and
this
that I
team,
feel yeah,
turn
and I
and
feel
with
like
this team turning down Johnny Hockey, I think it has no. They don't. It's just
yeah,
blunt.
with a lot of the directions that the hockey organization has gone, it's giving a lot of fans cause for wanting to find another place to spend that money to go and see games instead of going to the
Mhm.
Flyers games. And the one thing that I feel like is universal in terms of a sport rising in popularity or falling in popularity is in a city on a city to city basis, depending on what cities have teams in those leagues, is continued perennial success. So
Yes.
seeing teams not only make the playoffs but have like big things happen, like the Philadelphia Union raised the supporter shield at the end of the season 3 years ago. We finished number one this year. Like having those kinds of marks happen, and like all the awards, all the records, and all that kind of stuff, just having that consistent, continued success helps the market that market see that team rise. Which, if it happens consistently over, especially in the large market cities like LA, New York, Miami, like all those kinds of places, it'll become a more national thing. Like there are already matches on ESPN. Like
Yeah.
people will literally be sitting there thumbing through ESPN and be like, "Oh crap, there's a soccer game on." But like most of the time, like 5 6 years ago, it was like, "Oh, like Chelsea and Manchester United are playing on ESPN." Where now it's like on like a Wednesday night at 8:30, you thumb past
Yeah.
ESPN two. Oh crap, it's Austin FC and Real Salt Lake. So like now you're starting to see like
Right back.
even like nationally, like hockey has taken a back seat in most places to soccer. So yeah, being in the supporter section in Subaru Park in Philadelphia has been amazing. uh, This question, okay. Yeah. Honestly, I haven't been to a Union home match, gosh, since 2012. And no matter how often I get a chance to like hear that anybody else is going, I always say to them that it's the best fan experience that you can have here stateside. Like, granted, like a football game is amazing. Like any of the major four sports here in the states that are considered the four major sports: hockey, baseball, basketball, football. All four of those sports going to a game for them is amazing in its own right. But there's something different about as you walk in, hearing the pounding of people jumping up and down in the stands, and as you get closer to where like it's all coming from, starting to hear it rise through the concourse to when you get out to where the pitch is, to just hear it just essentially just enveloping the entire seating area, is just one of the most surreal experiences you'll ever have. Like it actually gives you energy. um so like I just feel like the soccer fan experience compared to other sports is larger than any of the other four major sports here in the states. Um, Another good question. I unfortunately cannot read what your name is, but I do want to give you amazing. I want to thank you so much for these questions. How do you explain that the women's national team is perhaps the best soccer team in the world, and the men in the World Cup barely make it past the group stage, and most of the time they don't. Um, Honestly, a lot of that is coaching right now. We actually have some serious talent on the men's national team side. Christian Pulisic, Weston McKinney, Brendan Aronson. Like there is so much in terms of talent, but it's the coaching is not great. Like Berhalter has been middling at best in terms of his coaching capability for the men's side. Then you look back at some of the other guys, like had Bruce Arena, Bob Bradley, like Jurgen Klinsmann. Like none of these guys really understood what these players can truly do and is able to piece that together. So like I totally agree with him saying that he's pretty sure MLS is more popular than the NHL is now. It's definitely getting to that point for sure, especially here in Philadelphia because of the fact that we're not seeing like I said, consistent perennial success for the Flyers. So it's one of those things like if the team is not doing well, they're going to fall down the rankings, almost like a essentially like a league table for your major sports teams in a city. So like right now, the way I have it, because football is always king. Now that football season's in, Eagles are number 1. Like that's just how it's going to go. Baseball is going to be number 2 right now because of the fact the Phillies are in postseason play. The Union are number 3. Flyers are number 4. Sixers start up in 6 days. So come back to me next week, and I'll probably have NBA in ahead of MLS.
If you're looking toward the popularity and all that stuff, like you said, Eagles 1, 2, Phillies, like you said, because they're right now they're talk of the town. Then you would go Sixers, and then Union and Flyers. I mean, till Flyers have, but like you said, let this be like you said, success,
consistent success year in and year out.
And, that's going to build. But look, great question, guys. Thanks for chiming into the show. But listen, let's get down to prediction time, MLS predictions, and I want to get your take on all this. Awesome. So let's go West Coast.
Get into my gamer position so I can sort of get my thoughts out right.
Yes. Let's go. LA Galaxy versus Nashville. Who do you have?
Well, me being the person that I am.
Are you going to take your brothers back?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so you're going Nashville.
Yes, I like Nashville in that matchup. The last game that LA played Nashville, I believe Nashville won because Galaxy couldn't really stop. What you call it? God dang it, I can't words. They couldn't really contain Mukhtar all that well.
Mm-hmm.
Where was it? Oh no, it finished in a 1-1 draw because Nashville went down a man.
Okay.
But dude, like I said, man, Hani Mukhtar is one of those guys that I feel like is the beacon for Nashville SC to be like essentially landing on the map in terms of like getting a lot more coverage. It's his second, like just like how with the Union being number 1 seed for 2 times in 3 years, this is his second time in 3 years that he's an MVP candidate. The first time he got snubbed out, which I feel like was an unjust thing for them to do to give it to who they gave it to. Eric saying the winner in the West will be whoever wants to lose to the Union in the Cup Finals the most.
Woo, hot take. I like this guy, Eric. Dropping some hot takes.
It's crazy to think that if it does go down to LAFC Philadelphia for the MLS Cup Final, we have to go out to LA for that because of the fact they finished with a better record.
Yeah. Here goes another one. So how about? So you got Nashville. I'm gonna rock out with Nashville too. Just to support Bros.
Go you boys in gold.
So, so next one we got Dallas and Minnesota. I'm going Dallas.
Nah, dude, I like Minnesota. I like Minnesota. I like Minnesota. I have to, man. Those guys have been tenacious all year. They scratched and clawed, and they literally had to fight off a rabid animal backed into a corner in Vancouver on decision day to keep them out. And like if like seeing a team like legitimately gatekeep playoffs from a team that has literally fought 2/3 of the year doesn't like give you like a weird feeling about that team, then I don't think you have a pulse. Like
no, not at all. Not at all. So like I said, just the way I saw Dallas play us.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way that Dallas plays, but I just feel like Minnesota having that quick rush of adrenaline on decision day, they're going to carry that over. Dallas, like I said, good club, very solid offensively, very tight in the defense. Their midfield's a bit more questionable, but I just like Minnesota for the story. Honestly, I mean, I personally, if it came down to just raw stats. Like if I would just break it down to that point, I would go Dallas. But aside from the fact that it's Eagles Cowboys week, I don't want to. I'm not giving Dallas any credit.
No edge.
No edge, dog. Paul
so
Spencer, you can at me on that, dude. Dallas got no edge right now in Philly, bro.
Woo. So what do you think of Austin and Salt Lake City?
FC Austin.
FC Austin. Okay.
Real Salt Lake put together a really good campaign, but that Austin has done something that I did not expect them to do this year, and that was have a potential MVP winner and be a number 3 seed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm thinking I'm gonna ride the same hand as you. I think I'm gonna go Austin as well.
Aside from the fact that it's also my name.
Right. Right. You have to go there. You have to go there. Here we go. Let's go to the Eastern Conference. Let's go Montreal or Orlando.
Got to go Montreal. Montreal really put together something this year that a lot of people didn't expect. I personally expected them to be at best a
Sleeper.
4 seed. I expected them to be at best a 4 seed, and to have it come down to the final week of the season to determine if they could be a 1 was a big surprise for me. So I'm going to give them credit where it's due and say that Montreal is going to move on.
All right, we got that. I'm gonna
Gonna,
go. You know what? I'm gonna go with the upset. I think
ooh,
I'm gonna go with the sleep. I'm gonna go Orlando.
Orlando City SC moving on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the sleeper. But Montreal's been a sleeper this whole year. All right, let's go to
But
Inter Miami
Inter Miami,
versus New
NYCFC,
York. Versus New York.
Miami. They have the narrative of it's Higuain's final professional soccer season. Uh, NYCFC has not been the same since they got rid of Tati Castellanos, and just the immense fall that they had, where their last the last 10 games they barely saw points in most of them. I don't think NYCFC has it in the tank to be able to try and pull anything together right now. I feel like they're on the cusp of a full blown rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they like I said, they lost their one of their best players in Valentin Castellanos. Sean Johnson's a very good goaltender, but I feel like he's either going to be traded somewhere else or he's going to be loaned out somewhere, and they're just probably going to scrap a lot of what they have and try and restart over the next few years, which is unfortunate for them because to literally go from being MLS Cup champion 2 years ago to essentially just wiping the whole slate clean and starting over is really tough.
Right, right. I'm gonna go with you. I think the speed of Inter Miami is gonna be too much for NYC to handle,
With
and
Yedlin on the outside there, bro,
yeah,
they won't know what to do.
that's gonna be a long day at the office for them.
Oh yeah.
So, and of course, let's get back to this one: Red Bulls versus Cincinnati. Who do you have?
I'm gonna let you go first because this is gonna take me a bit of thinking. So,
Um,
like I said, the main thing for
I
me
think
is the
Red
fact
Bulls.
that for me it's the fact that like both teams aren't that great like in terms
No,
of their on pitch discipline. Cincinnati's had a lot of trouble on the offensive end, but then again, so have Red Bull. So it's really tough to be able to call. I want to see Red Bull move on because I know that we can just toy with them for a full 90 minutes.
yes, it will
So I think I'm gonna go Red Bull. As much as I hate Red Bull, I feel like they'll move on and we'll just take them to the woodshed.
yeah, and like you said, I prefer facing them over than Cincinnati because, like you said, Cincinnati could be like one of those teams that they'll sneak up
Yep.
on you and
Yeah.
don't know where it's come from, but they'll sneak up on you. Here goes our man Eric again.
It's such a shame
As
our
the
athletic trainer can't fight NYCFC one more time.
same, wow.
Who knows? Everything that we say could be horribly wrong, and it ends up being we end up getting to do it one more time in the Eastern Conference Finals and do it right.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so like I said, so that's our predictions. So like I said, dude, it would be nice if we get our hands on the New York this weekend or for the following weekend. I think we should be able to take care of them. Who do you think needs to step up though, as far as playoff comes up? Would you like to see step up?
For the Union,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, the midfielders. I want
Okay.
to see Chris passing. Being able to make recognitions, helping out on the defense, and especially in the attack because they've been extremely involved in the attack with Gazdag being the centerpiece of the midfield attack. And I just want to be able to see guys like Martinez, Bedoya, McGlynn, Aronson, Sullivan, like all those guys, just be able to really contribute in every facet of the game. And I feel like that's where you're going to win and lose is through the midfield. Because you know the
Right.
back line's going to be there. You know the forwards will be able to flow. You just have to have the midfield to be able to flow through to get to that point. And I feel like
Correct.
that's going to be big for us. We've had our ups and downs throughout the season with the midfield play, but I feel like in the tail end here, we've seen it really level off at a high level. So being able to maintain that level of play is going to be vital for this team going through the playoffs.
Same. I want to see more guys step up. I mean, regular season's one, but we can't be laying eggs here. We can't be taking our foot off the gas. Excuse me there. We can't be taking our foot off the gas pedals. We can't be doing any of that. We cannot give this group or any group rather, a second look. Just got to go in there and take care of business. That's what I like to see though. Like guys like you said, I want to see more goal scoring from like Carranza and Gazdag. Like just keep those two guys your perennial goal scorers. Guys who can find the back of net with no problem. And that's who I want to see come up huge. You know what I mean? And played good, solid defense, like you said. This past week it was only 1-0, but I don't want to see games like, I don't want to see more than 2 goals in a game if necessary. So here goes one more from Eric. Here's another one. He goes, the offense. This is the first time I'm confident in scoring in the postseason. The back line, the brick wall, and the goal. Yeah, we'll do just what it does. Yeah, just score and get the W. Couldn't
Yeah,
agree more.
that's really all it is if you can get the offense going, you know that the defense and the goalkeeping are going to be there. You just have to be able
Yes.
to get to that point where honestly you want the defense to be so sound that by the time you hit the 85th minute, they've only had 2 shots on target at best.
Right.
Because
Uh, you-
that's what our defense can do, and it's what we've done a lot. So to be
right.
able to come out in the playoffs and keep that same energy throughout will be extremely vital through, from goaltending forward. To be able to maintain the level of play that you've maintained already throughout this year, goalkeeping, defensively, midfield, offensively with the attack, you need all of that to be at the same level that it's been. Keep the training rituals the same, keep everything the same. Like it's about consistency more than
Uh,
anything. And being able to keep like the same routine throughout is going to help keep that consistency in play. I feel like of course, when it comes to sports, I'm a big creature of habit. So like I
right.
go through the same warm up routine. I listen to the same music every time, and like there's just certain things like you do that to get yourself into that mindset. Like get the blinders on in terms of what you're really seeing outside of the game and hearing, because of the fact that you don't want to throw yourself off from that mindset that you've got yourself into.
Right. And to me, I just want to say get on the board early. Get on the board early. Get your goals up.
The, the,
Just
the
attack.
earlier the earlier you can really pull the heart away from a team, the better off you're going to be, especially in the playoffs. Because
Yeah.
everyone realizes in 90 minutes it can either mean your season continues or it's over. So
And
if you can before you even hit like the 35th minute, have that team think, well, that's it. It's been a great run. The second that you can flip that switch off for a team that's coming in, like say Red Bull works over Cincinnati and comes through. If we can go
Mhm.
up 3-0 before the half, that team's dead. That team is dead in the water. They won't have a chance because if you're up that much, you're suffocating that team like
Yeah.
overall. So like
Yeah.
if you can just be able to pull any bit of soul that they have out, like Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat,
Yes.
if
Yes.
you can just do that to a team that comes in here and they have to hear it for another like 60 plus minutes and they know that they don't have a chance, like that's really what it is. It's almost like a baseball game. Like you go up 9-0 by the second inning. Like
Yeah.
those teams, like they'll try and battle back, but they know that it's over. You
That
know
they're
what I
cooked,
mean?
and like you say, the best they could do is try and battle back. But like you say, get on the scoreboard early. Attack, tack, tack, and leave them, like you said, lifeless. Put them down early, and this way they know. Again, this is the toughest place to play is in Chester, and that crowd is going to be rocking, and all those things, all those uh, elements come into play, and you just got to be able to take care of business at home. You're
Yeah,
undefeated at home for a reason, and
exactly.
and Jim Curtin alludes all that into his press conference. Like this team is dangerous. Like
Oh yeah,
let us and you know what I mean. So this team knows it. This team, again, this is another chapter in this team's life. And if getting to the cup, okay, we didn't get the Shield, but we're going to get the MLS Cup. You know
yeah,
what I mean. So let's make that a promise to this fan base. So, but like I said, one game at a time. You just gotta learn. You gotta look at New York. You toy like you say. You toyed with them all year round. Now it's just time to finish them off. Now it's time to send them to go crying. So
yeah.
hopefully, if they're
Not only
there.
and not only did he toy with them on the pitch, but he toyed with them early on in the standings and let them have a chance of thinking that they'd be able to get into the number one spot, and then you just ran away from them.
Yeah, because you know what, like though I'm with you. I want to play New York Red Bull, even though they're the higher seed. I'd rather face them than Cincinnati. Cincinnati, you
Yeah.
don't know what team, and I believe they beat us the last time, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Yes.
So
And
you don't.
yeah, and with Red Bull, like I said, their lack of discipline, we really exploited that the last time that we played them, and we got under their
Hmm.
skin a lot to the point where one of their own dudes, in frustration, kicked a ball into the stands, hit a girl in the face with it, went
I
in to
remember that.
apologize, and her brother, who was a New York Red Bull fan, threw his scarf at him and told him to leave.
Wow, wow.
So I
So
mean, that's a
yeah,
whole.
that's all pandemonium that's going on up there. The
So
people.
you already got a crack in the armor that you can go after with this team. Like the second you see that guy, like the second he turns towards the stands with the ball, have everyone dive out of the way to like
Hmm.
just fake this man out, like
There you go.
get into his head and like scare him a bit and make him feel like, damn, I did that a month, like 2 months ago, and they're still on this to just throw him off of his game, and he's one of their wingbacks. So that way you can eventually just tear him down mentally and throw him off his game and get that outside run. Get that ball in. Who knows?
Mm.
It bounces around. Gazdag hits a laser like he did in the Toronto match, and we go up 1-0. Like there's a lot of things that you can really do. Like of course we like Eric had said, burn a pink cow, do it.
Yeah. Now, so Eric goes, I'll be there. Ain't no party like a 140 party. KSU.
KSU.
Um, now I got hope my man Eric. Eric, I hope you got the chance
He'll
to
be there.
see
Gus will be there. Definitely
Gus
look
will be
out for
there.
him.
Yeah,
I believe Gus sits in the River End,
yeah, he
if I
does sit in the
remember
river.
correctly. Well, I
Oh,
can't say sit because they're never really sitting. So
no, 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 no one ever sits. But Eric, if I'm hoping you got a chance, like I said, if you got edgeaffiliatesports.com, go on there, go check out Austin's article. Speaking
I
of,
have a 2-part article series in there about the 3 teams that are in the playoffs, the 6 teams that are in the playoffs aside
cool,
from us. I did not do a Western Conference breakdown. I think that'll be the next one that I do, um, which you will actually see that before next week's episode. It will be up on
yes,
more than likely
and,
by Wednesday morning if my work schedule doesn't allow me to have a whole day before then to get some of it done. Um, but yeah, the Western Conference wound up not being as big of a dogfight as I thought it was going to be. It wound up all being the Eastern Conference. So, I mean, still definitely pay attention to the Western Conference side of this playoff bracket because there could be a couple of upsets in there. The only one that I personally think will happen is Nashville over LA Galaxy. That's because of my familial standing with the team.
brother.
So, I mean, if like honestly, I feel like Chicharito is cooked here in MLS. Like the man had the man played 34 games, had a 14-goal year,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not. I'm trying to hold it back because I want to bring it up again. The whole Gazdag
No,
stuff for
get your
Chicharito.
blood pressure under.
I got to level myself off. We're not going to talk about
Yes,
that. But
but
like
look,
overall, it's playoff time, man. And what better time to be a soccer fan than MLS Cup playoff time? Sorry,
I'm done.
Audi MLS Cup playoffs. My
That's right.
apologies.
That's
They
all.
are sponsored by Audi. We are not. I wish we
Yeah,
were.
but we are sponsored by our man David R. Cherry here. Here again, working conversation, miracle vehicle accidents, personal injury, criminal law. Hit up David R. Cherry at 610-565-0300. Give him a jingle now. And of course, guys, man, if you are looking on phillysportstrips.com, tell me Edge of Philly Sports sent you. Edge of Philly Sports Trip sent you. Here goes some games are left. Houston going to Indy, going to New York. I think New York's the next big one they're going to be in store. It's only $325. Gets you food, drinks, and what I've heard from Mike Lauer, it is a rocking good time. So give that a try as well. And here goes a shout out to all the shows on the network. I'm not going to get into them, but because it's a lot to get into. But I do
A
want to tell
little
you.
blurry, but there's a lot of stuff going on every single
mm,
day.
Every single night, of course, the Penn Lions, Edge of Philly Sports, pre, post, half count. And we're not just not Eagles. We got all four teams, Philly, and now we got, like I said, the newest edition, Attack and Third, here on the Edge of Philly Sports Network. So, guys, again, Austin, this is like you alluded to a little ago. This is playoff time. This is the best of the best. There is no, DC. There is no, you
There's no
know,
DC. There's no Toronto. There's no New England.
you know, the,
It's the time.
it's the best of the best right now.
The best ish of the best,
Best dish
because
of the best.
there was a real dogfight between 5 and 9 in the Eastern Conference.
It should be popping though. So we will. I think.
I'll put a deal like this: Columbus Crew almost made it into the playoffs.
Wow. Gus says the game is next Thursday. So if the
Mhm.
game is Thursday, to all the viewers out there, we will not be running Thursday at 9 o'clock. We're going to be still. It's a TBA kind of a deal to be announced. We don't know if we'll be running the day before, day after, or I think we'll be running that Sunday morning alongside with me. So we are going to try and work out all the milk and crannies cookies to that. So guys, like I said, we have a big.
We'll get all the logistics worked out, and we'll let y'all know as soon as we know.
Yeah, because this is playoff time, and there's nowhere better place than Philadelphia in playoffs. It just goes hand to hand. So, guys, like I said, this is like I said, but say okay, I want me the Gobbler. So this the game's gonna be. I want to say what 7 o'clock, 8, 9, somewhere in there. I would say it's 8 o'clock prime time.
More than likely, it would be in a prime time slot, I believe. Let me
Yeah, 8 o'clock
see.
Thursday. Um, so let me ask you, Austin, what kind of meal is that? What kind of meal is that one?
I mean, if I'm off, it'll be some home cooking.
Home cooking. Home cooking is,
If not, it'll end up being whatever I
dude.
can find
Yeah,
and get my
yes.
hands on at work,
But let me ask you, is it a
as
wing?
usual.
Are you winging it?
Yeah, I usually do.
Uh, I like to wing it. I'm a big time wingsman. Just had some wings the other day for the Phillies playoffs. So again,
Yeah, it's looking like as of right now, time is to be determined for the second
yes.
round.
So even here you go. Eric's got 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. Thursday. So yeah, like I said, that's prime time, dude. It's go time. It's gonna be. I mean, that place is gonna be right. Like I said, Gus is gonna be in the house. Eric's gonna be down there. Our good buds from 97.5 will be down there. And I think it's certain somebody's working on getting credentials of being in that
I'm,
club box somewhere.
I'm doing what I can. I'm not pushing my luck too soon, but hopefully
But
something
yeah.
happens. If not this year, definitely next year.
Yeah. We'll have to talk with with the head generals at the front office here at
Yeah,
POP.
I'll put a word into the powers that be, see what happens.
Yes, yes, that would be cool.
Because if I end up scheduled and I get that, yo, guys, I'm not coming in. I'm
Yes,
sorry,
yes,
but this is
yes. Fake
it's
call out, fake it. Yes.
and then I get
Uh,
seen on national television.
yes, yes. The dude, it's gonna be. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a rocking good time, man.
Nail me to
So
the wall at work.
yes, yes. Hey, well, it's all worth it. Look, don't be like me and talk 2 weeks out of high school for SmackDown. Here comes the pain, but that's a different story. Um, but like I said, man,
That's for around 11 o'clock.
yes, yes. But yeah, like I said, man, Gus, Gus will be down. Like I said, the Devereaux Sports family will be down there, guys. This is the number one podcast to get all your Union action right here on the Attack and Third. So hit like, shot, comment, all that stuff. So here goes. Ah, yes, Erica Stadium Food. I'll be running it to the game. Where rest, where to rest my vocal cords in between blowing them out. Yes.
If you get the option to help with the vocal cords, some hot tea with a bit of honey usually helps with it.
Yes. So Eric, if you're down there, I know that the hot dog is a good commodity to have. The big 14-inch hot dog is the number one thing. You might have to get some hot cocoa up in that joint somewhere. They
But
do have some. I just don't like.
My wife's out here in the kitchen putting me on blast because I was giving a suggestion for what I use when I have throat issues.
Oh, there you go.
You need to chill out over there.
Oh, you hear the boss screaming.
You're a doctor.
Yes,
You should be the
yes.
senator. You should
Yes,
be a governor.
yes,
You're Dr.
yes.
Tell Dr. Oz to take a back seat, boy.
Yes, yes.
Dr. Austin's here.
By the way, I'm sorry about yelling earlier. Lily's literally like,
You got this, Dr. Alston? You got this, Dr. Alston?
The doctor is in, and the only doctor that really is either Pepper or Mario.
So, but look, guys, this has been a great episode of the Attack and Third. We will be back in about approximately 45 minutes if you guys want to talk some Mega Man.
I think we were doing the split between Mega Man and Minecraft. Yeah.
So, Mega Man and Minecraft, you catch Alston, you catch your new man Matt. All you get a bunch of us.
Yeah, it's gonna be a real smorgasbord of personalities.
Yeah, so guys, get the Devereaux Sports Facebook, get the Devereaux Sports Twitch and Twitter, and
make
check
sure
into the show.
You're not only following Devereaux Sports, but you're following Edge of Philly Sports, The Painted Lions.
Yes.
Facebook,
yes.
YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You can follow me and Pat on Twitter. Can you pop up the things with our names on them really quick, my guy?
How do I do that?
Let me see.
You're pretty much better.
Allow it to show.
Yeah, because I wish I knew how to do that.
Here we go. Show display names. There you go.
Yeah,
there go our handles. You can follow us on those. Pat's on Twitter is Pat86Bernard.
Mm-hmm.
Mine here is the same for Twitter, Instagram,
everywhere.
Instagram.
Twitter and Instagram.
I'm pretty sure there's the only two where I had to make a handle.
Yeah, so same. So guys, give us a follow, and we will.
Any other topics that you want us to be able to talk about, you can always send them to us there. I'm always more than willing to talk more international soccer whenever the time comes. Especially with in the off season, I would love to start talking international soccer a bit. I'm more than likely going to be doing some stuff talking about the World Cup starting in November. So there's a lot of fun things in the chamber ready to unload when the time comes. Just stick around and make sure you're a part of it. Go to EOPsports.com. Sign up for the newsletter. If you're a Phillies fan, Flyers, Eagles, Sixers, Philadelphia Wings, lacrosse, the Philadelphia Union, you name it, we cover it. Choose whoever you want. Choose them all. You'll get a newsletter in your email inbox every week with the newest articles. You'll get through the website. You get access to the video feed for this show and every other show. You get audio feeds wherever you listen to your podcast. If it's not through Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, if you just want to be able to hear our voices, because I know sometimes this ain't great to look at. You can just hear our voices. We have audio versions wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see y'all next week to start talking about round 2.
See you guys. See you later.